Between the A-18C Late and the Su-30 SM, which one's better? Well, that's kind of hard to answer, but it really depends on what you're using it for. If you're using it for BVR or Beyond Visual Range Combat, you're going to be spamming a lot of Fox 3s. The F-18 has 10, meanwhile the Su-30 has 12. Both missiles are very comparable, although the R-77-1 is slightly better at range. And on top of that, the Su-30 does have a better radar, so it's easier to track targets at a long distance. So if you're going to be playing BVR, the Su-30 SM is the way to go. As for general combat, both of these vehicles do fit into their niche pretty well, and they both have a butt ton of missiles filling the missile bus role. The Su-30 is technically better at close combat with 50G Fox 3 missiles and R-73s that just eat flares sometimes and are thrust vectoring. But on the downside, you are a massive bus that doesn't really retain energy that well, and it focuses purely on thrust. And it is very slow to react and maneuver at higher speeds. Not to mention your cannon is very limited due to the limited amount of rounds that you have in it. As for the F-18C, it does also have some pros and cons to it. Although it is worse at close combat, it is better at medium range combat. And I found the F-18 to be a lot more tanky, withstanding some rounds and missile hits. I found it to be more maneuverable and responsive to low flying maneuvers while trying to dodge Fox 3s and stuff like that. You're also a lot smaller than the Su-30 will ever be, so it is a lot harder for enemies to hit you with their cannon rounds. And of course you have a lot more countermeasures than the Su-30 does. So in my opinion, if you're going to do general combat, the F-18 is better. Moving over to cast, the Su-30 does get KH-38s, which are just absolutely broken in the current game, and it gets a maximum of 6. And you do of course get a pretty good targeting pod to go with it. That's your best cast option, but you also have other guided bombs like the Fab 3000, which is absolutely terrifying. And it's almost as terrifying as a 30mm that just punches through basically everything. And as even more of a perk, you do have the Pantsir on your side, so you won't really have to worry about facing the best SPAA in the game, and about facing other enemy aircraft. As for the F-18, the best cast option you get are 4 AGM Mavericks. And of course you get a Lightning 3 targeting pod, which is just absolute perfection. And that's not much going for the F-18 because the Mavericks are sub-Mach and they're very easy to shoot down. But on the bright side, you can have up to 10 GBUs if I'm not mistaken. So you do have a very high potential, although that potential can't really be used when you're constantly facing Russian SPAA. So if you're going to use these vehicles for cast, I highly recommend that you play the Su-30 over the F-18C Late. Now anti-cast on the other hand is an extremely different thing because AM9Ms absolutely rule ground RB because they are smokeless, meaning that enemies without a MAW system don't really know they're coming unless you see them go off the rail. And the F-18 is also a really good dogfighter, so you do have the ability to go to toe-to-toe with basically anything and have a chance to win. Unlike the Su-30, which doesn't have smokeless missiles and is pretty much just a bus that you can't miss. So if you want to use any of these vehicles for anti-cast, I highly recommend using the F-18. Now both of these vehicles do have perks while dogfighting. If it's a clean wing dogfight, the F-18 will win 99% of the time just because it is a lighter airframe and it doesn't struggle in turning. I mean, yes, the Su-30 does have thrust vectoring, but it does not help. And if you think it helps, go play it yourself and try to dogfight an F-18. It does not work. The only time the Su-30 really wins in these dogfights is when it relies on the R-73s. And that's not really a fair comparison because that's not the aircraft, that's the missile. So if you wanted a vehicle that could dogfight and be competitive at any level, the F-18 is going to be your best friend. So overall, that gives the F-18 a 3-2 lead against the Su-30. But in the end, it is personal preference.